Go girl, put that bass in your walk, head to toe, let your whole body talk. Up and pump it, pump up and pump it, pump and pump it, hey, pump up and pump it. As you can see, I would never make an amazing drag queen, so I'm gonna stick to what I know.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hey. Hi everyone. We are two geeky ladies talking about issues in our lives,
Relationship gossip,
and occasional politics, all while geeking and having fun. Let's geek. Are we ready for our little drag interview with Chicago drag queen Korra Nation?
Oh, I'm excited. You know, you know, this is the first time no, hold on. Because I went to the drag, what is it? The RuPaul drag, the one with the roast?
Oh yeah, Haters Roast?
Yes, I went to the Haters Roast. Oh my God, this was years ago. This was a couple of years ago. So after that, I've never seen a drag show, and I cannot wait for the day that I get to see like an
we're gonna go to one. We're gonna have mimosas. We're gonna have a lot of fun. No, because I have some girlfriends. In all seriousness, I want to go to a drag show, but of course, with the pandemic and stuff,
yeah.
But we are now at 50% capacity, at least in the state of Maryland. So you know, it's still possible.
You know, yeah. And then you know, I always used to see advertisement of like drag brunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like
those
Sunday,
are fun.
Yes, Sunday drag brunch. Yeah, I've always wanted to go because I always see the advertisement when I was down in LA, and I was like, oh, I want to go so bad, but like, it's just me out there, like, going by myself.
So before we start anything, we just want to, highlight and talk about things that we've been talking about since episode 1. Motherfuckers are wildin'.
And also, what was it, episode 2? When Jeremy Lin spoke out, and the hate crime on the Asian community is at its rise. And let me tell you this, I am a strong consumer of Asian products, whether it is skincare, anime, J-rock, J-pop, K-pop, like anything, you can name it. Also, you gamers out there, like, this is not the time for us to be silent. You know what I mean? And if you have no idea what to do or how to start to help the cause, I'm going to be linking down links down below in our description box in case you want to get educated even more or further. And that includes ourselves, to get ourselves educated more on what's happening, because the hate crime is at a rise right now.
Speaking of that, I'm actually going to be talking about this because I haven't even informed you about it. Hopefully before the season is up, we are actually going to have a friend of mine who is of Asian descent, and he may possibly talk to us about, what's been going on lately before the season's up. If not, definitely next season, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing it in maybe about 3 or 4 episodes time. So be aware for that. So we are very excited for this interview because we are going to be interviewing Chicago drag queen Korra Nation. He's going to be telling us a little bit about the Chicago drag scene and, just the experience of drag. And we are super excited. Hello, Corey, aka Korra Nation from Chicago. How you doing? You excited?
I am always excited for an opportunity to be able to hear my own voice later, so I am quite ecstatic for this.
Thank you so much for doing this with us. So congrats, you are the first drag queen to ever be on Let's Geek Pod. Hey.
Breaking records over here. Happy to be a part of it. I would like to thank our Lord and Savior, Cher, for this momentous opportunity. Thank you so much.
Tell us about yourself, Corey. How long have you lived in the Chicago area?
So I'm Iowa born. I lived in the Quad Cities for 24 years, and the company that I was working for provided me with an opportunity to move either to Michigan or Chicago, and I was like, well, Chicago has Boys Town, so that's where I'm going. I worked and lived in the suburbs for a while, and then I got an opportunity to move to the city, and at that time I had just decided that I wanted to start doing drag again. And I mean, it was a no-brainer. Like, it's a lot more expensive out here, but work hard, play hard, baby.
Was it a big change? Was it like a big culture shock from being, from Iowa to Chicago? Because basically it's almost like being from the country to the city.
You're not wrong. Where I lived in Iowa, it was a little like more industrialized as Iowa can be. So there were malls and there were shops and it felt like a normal city. When I moved to the Illinois proper, or Illinois as a state, I was living in the suburbs. So it was an easy transition. So I was still in a place that was a little bigger, but it felt a lot like where I was living before. And since I was going to the city every week to watch shows and support, by the time I made the move out there, I kind of knew what I was getting into. So I was smart with it, but it's still like if you live in a state with a low cost of living, I would not recommend moving to a city like Chicago with at least like less than $4,000 in your pocket because it's.
Oh, wow.
Wow, so, like that.
It's a lot. I mean, and another thing is like, I am from Iowa, so we have like gay culture. Chicago has queer culture, and it's one of those things like I can't describe it to you, but when you know it, you know it. Like you can tell when you're in a gay space, with a bunch of faggots singing. Oh wait, can I curse?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay. I forget about that. Thank you. I don't care about that. A bunch of gays singing, musical somewhere, as opposed to going to like an intersectional drag show where you see ballroom culture, club kids, you see, trans artists, and it's not just the same, 5 white queens everywhere. And we have our problems trying to separate that out, but you see a lot more diversity here. So I just felt welcomed. I loved it.
It's funny. I didn't know there was even drag culture because I go to Chicago all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling this to Catherine. I was like, oh my God, he's from Chi-Town for real. And so, what's it called? I was like completely baffled because, like I was telling Catherine, I have family down there, but like they're all underage. So it's like, I can't even go out like that. And
right. You can't do anything fun.
Yeah. And I was just like, what? And, I didn't know anything of drag culture until like I watched RuPaul's Drag Race. Yeah. And I was just like, what? And I didn't even know there was a difference within different type of cities. Like the drag culture was like different everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and honestly, if your relatives are still underage, there are still options for them to go and watch and see. Like Hamburger Mary's, the restaurant chain, does 18 plus shows. And that's how a lot of like minors get their like baby queens get their stuff started. One of my really good friends, Faye Ludes, headed it up. She's like the queen of the baby queens because anybody who just started and was a minor goes through her. So honestly, I mean, if you ever want to come out here again and you have people who are underage, or if you just want to know the scene, hit me up, girl. If I can't go out with you, I can meet you after a shift, baby. I'm always ready.
When the pandemic is over, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. I'm gonna hit you up.
14.
I got round 1 of the shot. I'm ready for round 2, baby. Like, let's go.
So what inspired you to do drag?
So I am from a very queer affirming family. So my mom and my grandma both grew up around a lot of gay and trans people. And a lot of my mom's trans friends actually were drag queens. So I've known what drag queens were my whole life. I have associated with them, talked with them. They've been around me since well before RuPaul's Drag Race. What inspired me, I moved to Orlando for a year and I was serving in an Applebee's. I didn't have any friends because I just moved out there by myself. And there was this group of like just over the top, flamboyant, how I wished I could have been back then because I wasn't as confident, gays. And they're like, we like you. We want to be in your section. So they cashed out with their server, came to my section. I closed with them. And they're like, well, we need some contestants for like an amateur drag competition. So would you be willing to do it? And yeah, I was like, fuck it. We were at like season 3 of Drag Race. I'm like, if these bitches can do it, I can do it. Plot twist, I couldn't do it. And it was not fun. I went on and they're like, well, what are you gonna do for your number? I'm like, well, I'm gonna do stand-up. And they're like, have you done stand-up before? I'm like, sure. Didn't rehearse it, didn't think anything of it, completely bombed on stage. But it was the people that liked it, the people that were there to support me, even though I looked god awful, it was amazing to be able to have my creativity displayed and to do something that felt original to myself, and for people to respond positively. And so I did it for a little bit when I went back to Iowa. My boyfriend at the time had a problem with it, and so like I just didn't blah blah blah. Broke up with him. Came to Chicago. The Chicago scene was very volatile at the time. There was a lot going on, and so I didn't want to get into drag. And then when I took like my full trajectory and took it full force, I had actually gotten into a DUI or had a DUI like 3 or 4 years ago. I was super down in the dumps. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like it was a very bad time in my life. And somebody is like, why don't you just go do an amateur night somewhere? And so I did, and my friends came out and showed up. And so like it was a competition with like 4 rounds. I ended up actually making it to the finals. So I got to be in a finale judged by Bob the Drag Queen and Trixie Mattel. And to go back to it, I did stand up there, and they both told me I was funny. So that's the one thing I will hold on to for the rest of my life. Bob and Trixie told me I was funny, and it's over.
Oh my God.
Baby, listen,
not familiar. Bob and Trixie are, professional drag queens, and they're just taking over the scene, and they used to be former contestants. But matter of fact, since some people who are listening may not even know what a drag queen is, how would you describe what a drag queen is for somebody listening for the first time?
I mean, I can give the commercialized canned answer, and it's basically going to be. I'm going to give the commercialized answer. I'm going to give like my actual answers. Like the commercialized condensed answer is basically, drag king, woman dressed up as a man doing performances. Drag queen, man dressed as a woman giving performances. It's not always live singing for the most part. It's lip sync performances. You see camp, drama, comedy. It's just a very creative form of self-expression. What I think drag is anything you want it to be. As long as you are expressing yourself in a creative outlet and you want to exist in a queer space and perform, no matter how you identify or what you want to do, the city of Chicago especially has a place for you. I know drag queens who identify as female and non-binary, and they're amazing. I know drag kings that identify as non-binary and male, and I don't think that gender should define your existence in the drag sphere. I think that your artistry should. So I think that drag is whatever you want it to be, as long as you are expressing yourself freely in a queer space. That's all it is for me.
Oh, wow. So do you have a drag mother, or are you like a drag orphan?
So I actually am twice orphaned. I've had 2 drag moms. When I did the Roscoe's competition afterwards, there was a queen. I'm not saying any names right now because I don't want to. I don't want to remember them. That's a different life.
Yeah.
She was known for doing insult comedy, and I was like, oh, this could be fun. Da 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 da. And so like we had a falling out, but over time I realized that like insult comedy wasn't for me. That you could be funny and comedic and campy without having to fall back on like mean tropes. Like not every queen has to be that drag queen at brunch heckling the straight women. So I left that. I was going for about 6 or 7 months, and then another drag queen, the queen who actually beat me at the competition that I was in, took me under her wing, and she had a lot of drag daughters that she picked up simultaneously, and my interest kind of fell to the wayside. And for me, like a drag mom is somebody who's supposed to use their influence, their power, and their experience to uplift you and get you to their level, if not beyond. I wasn't getting that from that situation, and so we parted ways. It was a bit of a dramatic thing, so it was not amicable. We're fine now. But I like doing it for myself. I have a lot of friends. I have people that I would consider drag parents, the people that gave me chances and like put me on their stage and booked me. So, Faye Ludes, Alexandria Diamond, none of these names, I know. Faye Ludes, Alexandria Diamond,
Definitely don't.
Ballad of All, and there are a couple other establishments out there that really took a chance on me, and it didn't always go well, but those people are my family, and I would consider them my moms.
That's lovely. Have you ever traveled to like a different state to do a show or a different town?
So since living in Chicago, I've got the opportunity to perform twice. So I got to perform once. I went back to my hometown. It was amazing because I'd been gone from Iowa for like at least 3-4 years, but I had not been there. And here were all these people from, my family. I had people from middle and high school, old friends, that I never thought would even remotely accept me as gay, nonetheless a drag queen, out here throwing dollar bills, buying me drinks, and it was so fun. And like I was supposed to go back again, but 2020 is the worst year on the fucking planet. So I got stuck at home. And then the other one, a very good friend of mine by the name of Wendy Breeze, had a show in Wisconsin she was doing. And she's like, well, do you want to come along? You know, we're going to have a good time. Drinks are cheap, especially compared to Chicago. I said, well, you said drinks. So let's go, bitch.
I felt that one.
Hello.
I was like out in LA and then coming back to Maryland, getting some drinks.
LA prices, I've heard, I've never been. I cannot. But the Wisconsin
those prices are crazy. One drink can cost you up to $12 depending on where you're going.
No, it's not the tea, bitch.
Actually, Vegas is more expensive.
Yeah, it's not.
They're like $17 a drink.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's why you buy your drinks and you drink on the strip.
Yes.
That's what I did. But the Wisconsin show is a lot of fun, and the reason I liked it a lot more than a lot of the other performances I do, the city of Chicago has a lot of drag, and because of that, it can become oversaturated sometimes. So you'll go to a bar and there's a drag show, and you're like, okay, well, there's a drag show, I'm gonna be here. The people in Wisconsin were genuinely there for a drag show, and the energy showed it, and they were living for every single thing that I did. I did not pay for a single drink after the show. I got so many, friends and connections, and it was just, I love doing drag, but I love doing drag so much more around people who want to see drag, not people who just happen to exist when a drag show is going on. So yeah, I hope I get to travel more when this Pandora's box is over.
That's lovely. I know that you did say earlier that you've been surrounded around drag queens like your whole life, so this is nothing new.
Mm.
Has your family ever been to any of your shows?
Absolutely. When I lived in Iowa, my grandma and my mom showed up to my first show. My mom showed up. She was working at TGI Fridays, I believe. So her and all of her associates showed up after their shift in uniform. My grandma showed up with a couple of old family friends, and I don't think they knew it was my grandma, but it was an elderly woman. And so she's reaching her little ET hand across the, stage to give me $1 because, she got to support Corey because she didn't call me Korra because she always fucking forgets. And they found out she was my grandma, and they loved her. My mom has always tried to support me. She lived with me in Florida and she did that. But since I've been in Chicago, my grandma's actually been up here a couple of times, and she's like a local hero amongst my circle of friends because every time she's in town, it's a good time. Everybody wants to do shots with her. There's a really amazing high definition picture of her slapping the ass of a drag king that ended up on a website. I'll send it to you. It is everything.
Yes.
I get my shamelessness from her, and people, when they meet my grandma, they're like, everything about you makes sense now.
So I guess next question, how did you develop your drag name, Korranation?
So my original drag name was Sasha Divine. Thank God we shook that. There was actually a story behind it. When I had started doing drag, a very close friend of mine had passed, and their name was Sasha. They were somebody that I knew since elementary school, and so I wanted to pay tribute to them because they were queer as well. But it didn't feel right. Your drag, can be inspired by other people, but ultimately I felt that it should be for myself. My boy name outside of drag is Corey, and people always call me Korra back and forth because you have if you're a gay guy, you have those girl versions of your name for each other. And I love plays on words, and so I was like, well, what can I do with Korra? And I was watching BBC or something, and somebody said, oh, we're going to the Korra Nation. That's it. That's the name.
Got it.
It hit. It sucked. And the only thing that sucks is people a lot of times don't get the wordplay. They assume that I'm just a really big fan of Avatar: The Legend of Korra.
Oh,
yeah.
I can see where they get the connection. I thought
it was like an Avatar reference.
8 out of 10 times. I am so used to it at this point. The only time it gets under my skin is all of my gamer tags are Korra Nation. And so the gaming community doesn't know nearly. They're like, oh, Korra sucks, or Aang is better. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to play League of Legends right now. Can you get to jungling while I rock this top lane and we can just go about our ways after? Because that's what I'd like to do today.
Oh, man. So when you perform, what does that entail? What do you do during the stage?
For me specifically, I am what you would consider a campier comedy queen. So I enjoy hosting when I can, when I have a microphone, I can interact with the audience, with my performers. If you come to a show and you see a Korranation performance, it's gonna be stupid. I'm a very shameless performer. I have done a lot of lewd and gross things on stage. I love props. So I call myself the unofficial Carrot Top of drag.
I saw that on as your tag.
I never know what to do with my hands when I'm performing. And so if there's a prop in it, I don't have to do anything. And so that's how I fell into that. But for me, it's camp, it's comedy. I learned probably a month out of the gate that I cannot dance, no matter how hard I try. And so I was like, well, we got to find another lane. And then, you see Shangela and you see Jinx, nationally owned drag queens, and you see them doing camp and comedy forward numbers, and you see Bob the drag queen, which is like the pinnacle for me. And I'm like, okay, well, there is a space for my type of creativity in these shows.
Yeah.
So what is your pronoun in and out of drag?
Out of drag, he, him. In drag, she, her, or they, them. I'm pretty flexible with pronouns. I'm used to hearing the gay she, which is like when you hey girl, you're talking to your friend. I'm very fortunate. Gender is something that I've never had to, I've never faced hardships because of it. I'm a cisgendered male, which means I was born and assigned male at birth, and I still identify that way now. But my partner Riley is actually trans-masc, and obviously gender is a lot more of a serious topic for him because there's a lot of things that happen in the trans community, and there's a lot of aggressions they face on a daily basis. So I take gender pronouns very seriously. So thank you for asking that, because I really do think those questions need to be normalized. Because you should never assume somebody's gender, even based on how they present, because how you identify is how you identify.
Well, are there any like do's and don'ts of a drag? Like, I've been to a drag show in the past, just a few, and they are super, super fun. But of course, listening to other podcasts with drag queens, like I listen to Race Chaser, and I
was listening to that as I was getting ready.
Yes. Sorry, Race Chaser is really good, and I listen to Sibling of Rivalry. Do you listen to that too?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Bob the drag queen, absolutely.
Yes, it's like they're each other's counterparts, and I love their crossover episodes. But you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
But, over the years, listening to them, and of course on the show, they've talked about how some women, some straight women like myself, of course, I've never done these things. If they were to go to a gay club and just to see a drag show, some of them have misbehaved, especially when it's like bachelorette parties. Like, it's good for them because it's like, I don't have a man that'll hit on me because they're all gay or however they identify. But that doesn't mean that it gives you a pass to be disrespectful to the drag performers. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, being in a city with so many drag bars in such a big city, one of our most known bars for like bachelorette parties to go to is called the Kit Kat Lounge. It's a restaurant. It's 17 million like martinis on the menu. I know, right? I actually haven't had many bad experiences with bachelorette parties. I enjoy them. I'm very much one of those people that welcomes anybody into my spaces. And for the most part, as long as they're not too shit-faced, they're respectful. But honestly, that doesn't apply to just, straight women. That really applies to a lot of people. I've been offended more by, men in clubs than I have by women. But in terms of like, as a patron, if you're going to a show, don't touch a drag queen's hair. Just don't touch people's hair in general. That's fucking weird. Like, I never
do that. That's brave to me.
I have seen people snatch wigs. They'll get on the stage and dance with you. That's a huge no-no. The spotlight is on me. I'm on the payroll. I'm also covered on the insurance policy. If I fall, you are not. So please get off of this stage. When you're tipping queens, obviously you hand them the dollar. Do not dance the dollar in front of them. Do not hold it and take it back, because the queen wants to get around to get all the dollars. We want to interact with all of our guests. And also, I'm not here to play your mini game to pay my bills. Like, I'm here to perform. Other than that, just be respectful. And this goes for all patrons in general. It's nice for drag queens to interact with you, especially if you're fortunate enough to go to an event where there's a RuPaul girl there. Those people aren't always owed your time, though. If that makes sense. Like, for me, I'm a very welcoming, I'm an opening person. I love talking to people. I know a lot of very amazing drag queens that are great performers, great look artists, but they are very introverted. And the idea of people just bum rushing them and demanding, they pay attention to this patron is so overwhelming for those people. So, don't fangirl, but be respectful about it. Understand that you, as a straight woman, whoever, you are existing in our space. This is our show. Our name is on the poster. We want to entertain you. So just let us do that. Everything else will fall into place.
Is there a particular drag queen that's just like, besides, of course, the cliche answer RuPaul, because she's not the only drag queen, Is there a particular one that you're like, my all-time favorite? You can't tell me nothing about them. Like, that's just my drag queen that I freaking love.
Fuck, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. I'm gonna give a national, like, I'll give you like, I'm gonna give you three. I'll give you a Drag Race one, I'm gonna give you a Dragula one because that show does not get enough representation, and then I'll give you a local one. So, Dragula, have you all watched Dragula? Have you watched it at all?
I haven't finished the first season. I watched half of it because I think it's on Netflix or Hulu. I think it's Netflix.
It's on one of the two.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my favorite drag queen from Dragula, their name is Meatball. So if you've seen season 1, you've seen Meatball. They are super hilarious. We have the same sense of humor. We've never met, but I'm just saying we have the same sense of humor because in my brain we're friends. They are very just over the top, unapologetic. You know, they'll do drug references in their numbers. They're very forward. I'm going to say this nicely. They're very forward about how sexual they are, as a lot of us drag queens are. Drag Race, honestly, Bob the Drag Queen is it for me. They have literally accomplished everything that in my ideal world, if I got to that point, I would want to accomplish. They have an HBO special, you know, they've done stand-up. They're on HBO doing a show with Eureka and Shangela right now. Mm-hmm. They have done so much, and I think that it's amazing to capitalize on that and do more with it, because that $100,000 wears off after a long time, and it shouldn't just be about the one victory. It should be about longevity. Yeah. And Bob does that. And then local, their name is Arigato. They are probably one of my favorite performers of all time. We used to be drag sisters, but we're still drag family. They are just over the top, campy, but like professional dancer, sweetest person you've ever met, but still somehow cynical and shitty, and like they'll shade you under their breath, you know, when you don't know it. Everything they do is original to me. Everything they do is interesting. Like they did what the fuck, Crazy in Love. This is probably
I saw that you retweeted that. That was hilarious.
It is everything. So to explain to everybody who hasn't seen it, so the intro to Crazy in Love is like da 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 da. So they come on, they start performing, and it loops that intro for a minute and a half. And so the same 8 count that Ari is doing at the beginning, they hold for a minute and a half going back and forth, and the entire crowd is wondering what the fuck is happening. And by the time you realize that it's repeating, everybody loses their shit. And it's so good. And it's like what in your brain, like who hurt you that you think like this? But also thank you for this fucking artistry, because it's everything. And you will always know if I'm in the audience, especially when Arigato is performing, because in the background on cue, when Ari does something funny, I will screech like a pterodactyl. Like I get that loud. They're probably my all-time favorite.
Have you ever had a drag malfunction on stage? Like you were just performing and you're just like, oh my gosh, well, the show must go on.
I have tried 6 wig reveals in drag. Only 2 of them have gone successfully. So I have been scalped by myself, just full on ripped my wig off on stage. I am not the greatest in heels, so I have fallen plenty on stage. I think that's it. I've never come untucked, thank God. I forgot my words a couple of times. Who hasn't? And then like when I'm doing comedy, occasionally I have like blanked, but I'm quick enough on the microphone that I can improv until I figure out where I'm going. But yeah, I've been kind of known for not being the most, I wouldn't say polished because the mug is correct right now, but I'm what we call like an accident-prone drag queen. Like if you had to imagine like Goofy as a drag queen, mama, look no further.
There we go.
So can you tell? Okay, so you know how like when you meet certain people, you could be like, I know your accent. Are you from Harlem? Or I know your accent. Like, are you from Tennessee? Like, you from the state of Tennessee? Can you do that with another drag queen just by looking at them? Just be like, you're Chicago drag. You're Chicago sister. No. That's a New York sister right there. Like, can you tell by their outfits, or is it just
by their outfits? Wow.
Until you meet them?
If I was not in Chicago, I could do that. Like if I were in like Georgia watching a drag show and there were drag queens from across the country, I could probably pinpoint where each one was from. the thing with Chicago is we really have all the types of drag. Like we do have a club kid scene that's amazing. Nico is probably one of the most amazing makeup artists I've ever met. And if you ever get a chance to follow them, their Instagram is Nico's World. Beyond this world fucking makeup artistry. We do have a ballroom scene that exists as well. I have not had the fortune of being able to go because I work all the fucking time and also we're in a pandemic. We have pageantry. Naisha Lopez, a former Drag Race contestant, is a Miss Continental, lives here. We do hold Continental here, and pageantry is something that has a very rich history in this city as well. So I think that if you're looking at it, like, I could not tell you in this city who's from where. But if I were in Georgia, New York, I know like New York queens are known for doing the same 4 songs, the same 7 bars. And so if I see a queen that's done a song in that same outfit, I go to a bar the next day and I hear that same song, you're that New York girl I knew you were, bitch. You know? Yeah. If I see like over the top hair and like big pageantry, like big jewels, I'm probably going to assume you're from a place like Florida because that type of drag isn't the only drag that's there, but that's where you have Trinity the Tuck Taylor, Roxy Andrews, who is like that's the standard.
She's beautiful.
And pageantry, Lenacia Sparks is also down there, very fucking stunning queen. And a lot of the queens there, you will see the big hair, the big jewels, the over the top makeup. They're not painting for the stage, they're painting for the Thunderdome down the street because that's how severe the beat is. But regional drag can be fun, but I think more and more you're finding that alternative artists, or rather artists that aren't necessarily what the scene would say that they are really developing and burgeoning.
Where's your dream performance as a drag queen? Like, where's the place you would love to perform at, or maybe even be part of?
The easy one would be like a stand-up special. Like to be able to do stand-up on a national stage would be amazing. For me now, though, I'm really trying to. I'm very well read. I love reading up on politics. I'm always like listening to podcasts, news, and it's something that I've been interested for a long time. I would love to be able to gain notoriety and use that platform to give nuanced but approachable discussions to really important political issues and draw attention to this. So that would be my ideal dream, honestly. Like if I had a show on a cable network where I was just there doing my thing, talking about the same things they talk about on MSNBC, but my hair is prettier. That would be the dream for me.
Go ahead.
Wow, a drag queen news station. You never know.
You never know.
Anything is possible. We're not saying it could be anything's possible.
And I was gonna say, with the platform we have on YouTube, you never know. Started it right
Absolutely.
there.
Oh my God.
Build that empire.
Well, we can take this opportunity to talk about Salty Mermaid Swimwear. Let me tell you something about it, Corey. It's this wonderful bathing suit company that I have a partnership with. It's for the lovely girl in your life, the lovely guy in your life, non-binary, and it's super cute. And they have trunks, and they also have nice, beautiful outfits that you can match with your partner. So give it a try. And because I'm so genuine, I'm gonna give you 15% off. So all you have to do, girl, yeah, I got that family discount.
I'm writing the code down right now, so let's go ahead and do this.
Right. Salty Mermaid Swimwear.com. Yeah. And the code is Salty15K.
Baby, she got it right there. We ready.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're back. See how I did that transition?
That was good. Yeah, that's professional. Look at her. Barbara Walters who? I don't even know her.
So our next question, do you ever see yourself on Drag Race, or you're just like, no, like I don't even want to bother with it?
I guess I could take this time to kind of talk about Drag Race a little in general. For me, it's one of those things, like, it's not the dream. I have never auditioned for Drag Race. If I ever felt that I was ready to, that I wanted to, and I got on, absolutely, I would be happy with that. I feel that I would make good TV just because I'm me and whatever. But I also understand that being on Drag Race doesn't necessarily define your success in drag. You can be a successful queen. You can be an amazing performer, an amazing queen. Lucy Stool, local queer icon, Chicago legend, has never been on Drag Race, is known internationally. Like, she is the bearded bitch. She is that girl. She is the only drag queen that performs Lizzo more than Lizzo. I'm gonna get red for that, but I don't give a shit. Auntie Chan, who actually has had a viral video way back that you guys may have seen. It's called "I'm So Into Voguing Right Now." It was in reference to a Drag Race thing. I'll send you the link. It's years old at this point. Has reached national success. Tenderoni, Chicago native, Drag King of the Year. Amazing. We are so proud of them. They performed at Pride in Alaska, which I didn't know that people lived in Alaska anymore. I thought they just they let the moose take over.
Same.
But it's good to know. Would I take the opportunity and would I apply? Yes. But I feel that if I doubled down and I started doing drag full time, that I could be successful enough that even if I didn't make it on the show, I'd be content with who I ended up as a performer.
So would you ever, if you had the opportunity, do reality TV?
Absolutely. If they did a real world drag queen or drag housewives.
Yeah. Kat, didn't I tell you, you know what one of my goals is? Right, one of my goals is actually to create my own reality TV on YouTube. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
I like that.
I told her that. Yeah. I've been so inspired by Love and Hip Hop.
She just found out what Love and Hip Hop was a few months ago. She is obsessed.
Yeah, I've been obsessed. Yo, I've been watching Love and Hip Hop since the pandemic because during the time of, I don't know what to do, I'm not working, let me see what's on TV. I came across that and I was just like, oh, I know these people. Okay. And then I only know the Hollywood ones. I don't know.
Right.
Because I told her the most ratchet one was Atlanta. She and I are going to watch
she
Atlanta
knows
together.
Me. I love messy. I love messy TV. Oh my God, I'm so obsessed. And I was just when was it? Last month? I was like, Kat, you know what I really want to do? I want to get a bunch of people, even friends together, and let's do our version of Love and Hip Hop.
That'd be so fun.
Right? And then you know what? I'm going to sign you up.
I'm right here for it, baby.
Let's do this. Our own Love and Hip Hop version, Chi-Town. Let's do it.
Okay.
Do we even have a Chicago? Love and Hip Hop?
I don't think so.
Let's do it.
I think this morning she may have discovered Aliana Fixed My Life.
Really?
Yeah, I think she may have discovered it this morning because she sent me a video. You know that video of Aliana saying, "Did Harriet Tubman do so and so?" I forget the rest of the line. When she went to freedom,
just full throated, didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, because hey, I'm scrolling through TikTok. I'm on my For You page, and then I used to F with Hazel E until she did what she did, and then I was like, if you watch Love and Hip Hop, y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going through the For You page, and I was like, wait, she looks like Hazel E. I was like, what is this? Where is this from? I sent it to you, Kat, and I was like, what's this? And she was like, oh, you don't know about that? Let me tell you. And she was quoting everything. I was like, hold on, slow down, hold on. I need to know the tea. You know how I am,
Because I'm like, this is her discovering Love and Hip Hop. I'm just so
we love to see it, honestly. I feel the same way every time I get a straight friend that is like, oh my God, Corey, have you seen this show called Drag Race? Never heard of it. No. Absolutely. Tell me more about it. What are the cars that they race on it? What the fuck? Do you even follow me on social media? What the fuck?
Oh, okay. One question dealing with reality television. Wendy Williams, yes or no?
No. I'm just gonna say no. I feel that she said some problematic things in the past that we kind of gave her a pass for. When she did the interview with Laverne Cox, I think she was a little disrespectful with. Yeah, if I recall correctly, and I normally do because I'm always right. It's just a degree to how right I am. Where she talked about, and this is an important question for anybody interacting with your trans friends, asking about, surgeries, what do you have? How is it done? Do you still have this, that, or the other? And I'm just like, that's not okay. It's, first of all, it doesn't fucking matter. It changed. how a person identifies or what is underneath their clothes should not change their perception of you, or your perception of them rather. And also a lot of trans people went through a shit ton of paperwork through like having to get, insurance companies, psych evals, the trauma of having to explain it to your family and hoping that they accept you, the friends that and for you to reduce that down to surgeries, that's insulting. Like that's degrading and dehumanizing for me. So that alone, I'm done with her.
Well, at least it's an educational moment. But I do have one more drag question I did forget to ask you.
Mhm.
Do you have any drag children? And if you don't, are you open to it in the future?
I have bet people have come to me. Actually, one of the more popular queens in the city. Her name is Sapphire Feliciano. She's a current Roscoe's Drag Race winner, and then she's also like won a bunch of competitions up and down the strip. Very good friend, sister. The first time she saw me, it was her 21st birthday, and I was performing at Roscoe's just as the amateur show, and like she walked up, and she's an emotional Cancer just like me. She had little tears in her eyes, big old doe eyes, like Puss in Boots from Shrek, and she's like, I love you so much. Would you be my drag mom? And I was like, baby, no, I can't take care of a house plant, nonetheless a drag daughter. So it's gonna be a no for me, dog. And I feel bad because I talked to her later about it, and she felt so shut down because she was 21. Like she's never been to a club and really interacted with drag queens. And the first drag queen, it basically was like, it probably didn't leave a good impression. But I will help people along the way. Like I've made mixes that have won competitions. I've written jokes for roast and helped develop numbers. If people reach out to me, like, how do you do this with your makeup? If I know how to do it, I'll help you. I don't think that you need to tether yourself to an individual with namesake or anything else like that to feel like you have a drag family. So I would never take somebody under my own personal wing and feel like I was responsible for them. But I am always willing to help newer queens find their footing in the city. And support the queens that support me as well.
So are there, any favorite drag houses? Like, you have the ones like House of Edwards, there's another one that I'm forgetting.
Is it O'Hara House of the?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. House of thank you.
There's lots of legendary houses on the nationally known ones. I would say the House of Andrews. Roxy Andrews is phenomenal. One of their drag children, their name is Axel Andrews, was a friend of mine when I lived in Florida.
Oh, them.
Sickening. The House Down Boots, it is it's another one of those people where the makeup artistry is just so amazing. And also it's another thing where like they're the sweetest, nicest person you have ever met, which is so funny because they paint so severe. But what's up?
Isn't he a drag king?
Yeah. I think, they identify as it because they paint amazing. And obviously Roxy Andrews is not going to let anything less than perfection in her family. The House of Coulee is a very well-known one in the city of Chicago. So Shea Coulee, Bambi Banks Coulee, Kenzie Coulee, and then I think Chloe Coulee just joined the family as well. There's a timeline there. There's a bunch of people in it. All the drag queens are very well known locally and nationally. And the reason I like the House of Coulee is for Shea specifically because I think that she has done something that's amazing is she has taken her notoriety and her influence and used that to elevate a bunch of drag queens who are now nationally known. And I feel the same way. So are you caught up on Drag Race US yet?
Yes, of course. I just haven't seen day before yesterday's episode. I just gotta watch that one.
I don't see anything about that.
Just 1 week late.
So my other favorite thing is she's not a drag house, but one of the 2 Chicago queens this year was Denali. And I don't need I've seen them perform. The most amazing thing to me is what I would do if I was on Drag Race. I think that if you have a national platform, you should use that to elevate your local scene that got you there. And a lot of queens talk the talk, but when they get off the show, they just go get their checks and they'll say tip all the other queens and that's it. Denali actually made a music video and it's almost at 1 million views, so you both need to watch it. It's called Chicago Drag Excellence, and it's to her lip sync song 100% Pure Love when she did that first episode, or that third episode. I don't know, that the season's going on forever. Yeah. But she did not make it about her. Her and Kamora were in the beginning, but the entirety of the rest of the music video was just local performers. And it covered the entire spectrum of drag, and it was so amazing that Denali really put the work in. and use her influence and her resources and her power to bring light to names that nobody else would have known. And the same thing, she did a photo shoot when she did Snatch Game as a Queer Eye character. She did a photo shoot with a bunch of drag kings, and drag queens are very underrepresented in the scene. And then that got national attention. So here's these 4 or 5 other drag kings that now have, you know, national exposure because of a Drag Race girl. That's my fangirl moment.
Thank you so much, Korra Nation, for being with us. This was so much fun.
It was a blast.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for thinking of me. Normally when people think of me, they think to go to Howard Brown and get tested for chlamydia. So this is a change of pace. You know, we really love it. But no, I think it's amazing. Thank you for having me on. I will promote as much as I can. I think it's important to promote female creators, and I think it's important to promote Black creators. And whatever platform I have to elevate both of you, you know, my tens of followers will be subscribing.
And please, people listening or people watching us, if you are in the Chicago area, please come see Korranation, please. You will enjoy their drag so much. As you can see, we're having totally fun.
And before you go, let people know where they can find you.
Absolutely. So I am on Insta. If you search me on Facebook for the 10 people that still use Facebook, it's Korranation, Korra. The second R is for ready, because I'm always ready. Nation, just how it's spelled. And then my Instagram and my Twitter are both at Korranation, so Korranation. Also, if you search Korranation, you're gonna find me. I think there's one other queen that has the same name as me, and like I met her mom, but. I met her.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye, babies.
Okay, so it is now time for our segment, Damn Right, That's Wild, where I find an incredible true story from around the world that actually happened. And this story is coming from mirror.co.uk, so thank you for the source. And this headline is called, "My Grandma Won't Stop Bullying Me Because She Doesn't Like the Name of My Future Son's, name." So yeah, I probably screwed up the title a bit. Yeah, but it's something like that. So there's a woman and she's from the UK. I don't think it says the exact location, but she went on Reddit and she did kind of those things where it's like, am I the asshole? Have you heard of that on Reddit?
Am I that? No.
Okay,
actually, no, but you and I had conversation where you asked, I guess, am I the asshole for saying this? And I'll be like, yes.
There's a popular Reddit thread called "Am I the Asshole?" where people will tell their stories, and then people will be like, you're not the asshole, or yeah, you're the asshole in this situation, or they'll be like, I can't tell who's the asshole. I got to give it to both of you. So this is a woman who is saying that her grandma's bullying her. She's, with her fiance, and she's about to have her first son. And, she and her fiance picked a great name, what they believed was a great name for their baby. But they shared it with the family. It seems like the only person that had a problem with it was the grandma. And the grandma thinks that it's a very stupid name. And she really has a theory that he's going to be made fun of the name. Right. Yeah, I mean, according to the family, she's the only one that has a problem with it, and she keeps calling it out 24/7. She's a petty grandma. And of course, people are wondering, what's the name? And they want to name their child Atlas Sage. What do you think of that name? Atlas Sage. That's going to be the first name of their first son. I guess Sage is the last name.
I'm gonna be honest. Drop the first and keep it as Sage. I don't know. I like.
Well,
Sage,
it's implied that's the last name, though.
Oh, so shoot, okay. So since it's implied that's the last. Oh, then no.
Yeah.
No.
So
I don't like. I personally don't like it. But at the end of the day, it's your baby.
But would you bully your grandchild, or would you bully your child if they were having your future grandchild or your future great grandchild or something like that?
No, I would probably step aside and tell my daughter yo, no, I don't like this name. But I'll just express how I don't like the name, and then I just give my grandchild a nickname for the rest of her life.
Oh, you're that petty, but
Why is that petty? If I don't like the name,
I mean,
if the name, girl, if the name don't fly, I'm not gonna call you by that name. Like I'm not gonna tell them disrespect. Oh God, my grandchildren is gonna see this in the future. But listen, all I'm gonna say is I'm just gonna give you a cute, but I'm gonna give you a cute middle. No. I'm gonna give you a cute nickname or call you by your middle name. That's what I want to say. I'll call you by your middle name, or I'm gonna give you a cute nickname.
well, the lady is still, the granddaughter is still in her feelings because, every time she comes around her grandma keeps sneak dissing jokes. And she's like, yo, am I the asshole for like naming my future child, Atlas Sage? Like my grandma keeps saying, like, I'm telling you, people are gonna make fun of your kid. And it's just like, the only person making fun of that name is you, grandma. So she was just wondering, like, is the name that bad that I should name my child that? Does my grandma have a point? Or is she just being an asshole? And the way it's gone through the article, most of them have their own opinions, but it seems like most of them are agreeing that, yeah, your grandma's kind of an asshole. And
she is. It's like eventually you have to let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, I mean, it's not your kid. Can you imagine if she's reacting this way to her great-grandchild? Can you imagine what it's like when she got named?
Where is the mother? Because let me tell you.
That's a good question.
Because my thing is, I actually had something similar like that. When I named my first one Audrina because it was so different. And my mom was like, I don't like that name. And I was like, oh, well. That's pretty much what it is. Oh, well, like her name is Audrina. And I think it's a beautiful name. If you think it's a beautiful name, F what the grandma said. Like,
so you agree, set your foot down, girlie.
Set your foot down.
You name your child Atlas Sage.
Yo, chill. Yeah, at some point, like literally, grandma is harassing your child. Like, you ain't gonna say anything.
Watch her be a petty great grandma, like legit.
That'll probably be me though.
But yeah, that's basically the story. Like, the Reddit thread agrees that the grandma's just being a douchebag. Like, name your kid anything you want to, and hopefully good luck to her in her life that she decides to name her child Atlas Sage. So let us know, listeners.
If anything, let's just
and people viewing.
Yeah, if you know what, if anything, if the child's like, I actually do not like the name, go by your middle name if you have the middle name, or just change your name. There's like plenty of people out there who probably changed their name because they didn't like their birth name.
Exactly. It happens all the time. Like, it'll take a little bit of, work, but you can always change it. But
yeah, just like anime songs. I'm sorry, that's a dig on you.
I'm not a fan of anime songs switching like mid-season. I will say it on this recorded YouTube episode, which is also going on our podcast. I said what I said.
Listen, okay, this stems from listeners. Okay, so this stems from the conversation started when I was like, you know what, we should change the song for like season 2, just to unfit a little bit. And then like you were like, no, I don't like it. Just like how I don't like anime song changes. I was like, oh no, you did not. First off, not every opening is going to be a banger, and I don't think there's a couple of animes where I think like the first season song was trash, but the second song, that's where it is. It's lit up in here, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, change isn't that bad. Stop complaining if the furniture has been rearranged, okay? Stop it. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that is our story. But also, transitioning. We are trying to do a new thing where it probably won't be every single episode. It'll probably be every other episode where we want to promote businesses. So for our first one that we're doing, we want to promote, a Black business and a Latino business. They just so happen to be a Black and Latino business. We don't discriminate on what businesses over here. So if you have any businesses, please tweet at us so we can at least mention them on the podcast. Put your links, tell us what you do so we can get you guys out there.
Yeah.
So the first one is Trish Coco. I know this is probably a little bit too unclear to see, but if you can't see it, I will definitely read it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called Trish T Coco, and it's handmade jewelry. I've met the lady myself. She has her own website. She has her own links. All of it is handmade jewelry. She makes it herself, and they are so beautiful. We will put the link to that at the bottom of this episode and at the bottom of this video. So please go support that Latin business. And then the second one is Black Creation Cloud, and this is by a Black woman named Erica McLeod. She also has a TikTok where you can actually see her, you know, do these creations. Like she makes keychains, she makes ashtrays, she makes necklaces, she makes beautiful jewelry. She does custom made. If you ask her, like she is so creative. Necklaces, rings, you name it. Like she can almost like figure out how to make it. Her store is on Etsy, and we're going to put that down in the link of the description of the podcast and of the episode. So please follow both of these businesses. So our artist of the week is Veroli. And since you had such a hot episode with Korra Nation, it's time to cool us down. See what I did there? Because, yeah, his song is called AC by Veroli. So please listen to his music. Follow him on all the platforms. Once again, they're going to be listed on our YouTube, and it's going to be listed on the podcast. And while you're at it, don't forget to give us some love too. Those watching on YouTube, the subscribe button is right down here. It doesn't take you like a good 10 seconds to press it. We love you. We will give you content. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. We're here for you. Have the discussion with us. We love it when people interact with us. So yeah. Bye.
Let me live in the past. I'm here looking for an answer that I know will never last. Sitting in a pocket in my mind, I don't ever wanna leave. Thinking about the promises I made, just to never keep. I need you to let me go. Let me live in the past. I'm here, but it don't seem to matter. So why would I go back? Convince me to go back. I want truth more than I want swag. Not like I ever asked. Convince me to go back. I see myself at 4 years old and my feelings never last. I'm running home in fast. Let me live in the past. I'm here looking for an answer that I know will never last. Started using AC just to learn how to stand it. It gets hot as I age, as I do permanent damage. Not on the same page as anybody else on the planet. I live in plain ways, I pray to understand my man. Don't think that I think that I'm special. Lines 5 and 6 of the verse are in pencil. I'm open to the notion someone's just like me, but 8 billion pages seems just as likely. Like